Life moves in cycles, and so can you. The lunar cycle is more than just phases, it's a powerful tool for mapping your goals, refining your habits, and growing with intention across every area of life. Hi, I'm Stacy, creator of Cycle Points, a method that blends lunar astrology with life planning to help you time your actions, align your goals, and make decisions with clarity and purpose. Cycle Points was born from my own journey, healing childhood trauma, breaking cycles of limiting beliefs, and reclaiming my voice after years of losing it. With a background in education, behavioral therapy, and wellness coaching, I've spent my life helping others grow. Now I help you follow the rhythm of the moon to grow with intention every month, one cycle at a time. Let's dive in. The moon is your guide. Each month, we begin a journey of growth and development in one of the 12 signs, focusing on a specific theme. During the month of May, we focus on Taurus with its theme of ground. The moon The Taurus new moon plants the seeds of value driven growth. Taurus kicks off this lunar cycle with a grounding call: know your worth, secure your resources, and build what truly matters. Over the next 4 weeks, the moon moves through every zodiac sign, carrying Taurus's message of stability, self worth, and sustainable abundance into all areas of our lives. Each phase reveals how our desires for security and fulfillment must be translated into daily choices, our routines, and our relationships with both realism and flexibility. By the end of the cycle, the moon returns to Taurus to check in on our growth. Have we honored our values? Are we building a life that reflects what we truly need? As the zodiac new year gains momentum, Taurus grounds our vision, turning sparks into substance and intentions into enduring systems of support. Ground is the essence of Taurus. It's about rooting into what matters: your values, your worth, and your stability. Taurus teaches us to build slow, steady, and strong, using practical tools, loyal energy, and consistent effort. When we ground, we create security from the inside out. Over the next 4 weeks, the moon activates the four pillars of the Cycle Points method: clarity, awareness, accountability, and choice, helping you turn growth into lasting change. The new moon in Taurus is a grounding point. What do you truly value now? What resources, both internal and external, can you actually use to manifest your goals? This is the time to define what's worth your energy, your effort, and your investment. As momentum builds, the first quarter moon in Leo energizes your creativity and confidence. Where are you holding back from authentic self expression? Are you building your goals based on your true self or an outdated version of who you think you need to be? Week 2 will challenge us to act boldly, collaborate meaningfully, and let our individuality lead. It's about being seen, not just showing up. With the full moon in Scorpio comes emotional truth. Scorpio asks you to face what you've been avoiding around shared power, emotional debt, and trust. Are you holding on to control in ways that keep you stuck? And what are you ready to release to transform a situation? The full moon brings intensity, but also the power to reclaim your energy. We will be asked to show accountability for the way that we merge, share, and commit, or don't. With insight from the first 3 weeks, the last quarter moon in Aquarius will offer a higher perspective. Which communities uplift your growth and which drain it? What roles do you play in your groups, and are they aligned with your purpose? This is the point to make choices using discernment. Who do you want to co create the future with, and what collective values match your own? Aquarius will remind us that freedom comes from conscious participation and not obligation. A quick note on how these readings work. I use the whole sign house system for my videos to simplify for my listeners. Insights are based on rising signs, and that's the zodiac sign that's on the left side of your birth chart, below that bold horizontal line, also called your ascendant or at the first house. Your rising sign gives the clearest picture of how each moon phase will activate different areas of your life. If you use the Placidus system or are deeper into astrology, the degree of the moon, like for instance, the new moon at 7 degrees of Taurus, might fall into a different house. So feel free to listen to the sign before or after your rising sign for added insight. And if you don't have any idea what your rising sign is, that is okay. You can still follow along using your sun sign, which represents your identity and your purpose, or your moon sign, which represents your emotional world. And if you're curious to learn more, I've got tutorials on YouTube to help you find all three. The bottom line is, wherever you're at, you'll walk away with guidance that feels grounded, personal, and easy to use. And a quick heads up before we dive into your sign. If you're craving a deeper, more personal connection with astrology, you can check out my course, Archetypes of the Zodiac. It's your go to guide for understanding each sign's energy and how it plays out in your real life. Whether you're totally new or looking to level up, this course will help you work with the zodiac in a way that's grounded, empowering, and actually makes sense. Registration for the summer round opens May 21st, and you'll find it on the Maven's Call, which is a beautiful platform supporting women in turning their creative passions into real life purpose. And if you feel called to explore astrology for self growth and self aligned living, this is the place to begin. This summer's Archetypes cohort will dive deep into the wisdom of the signs, guided each month by a leading archetype. The nurturer is Cancer, the performer is Leo, and the perfectionist is Virgo. Starting June 25th, I'll send you emails every few days showing how the month's leading archetype interacts with the other signs as the moon moves through the zodiac every 2 to 3 days. Think real time insights on how Cancer's nurturing energy meets the energies of the other archetypes along her journey, helping you understand how each sign's energy will play out in your life in the moment. It's astrology as a living, breathing guide, and you're invited to walk it with me. The Archetypes course is going to teach you how you can decode your story through the zodiac archetypes, how you can work with your personal energy and not against it, how you can discover your natural gifts, your passions, and your purpose, and also how to align with the cycles to live more intentionally. Along with the emails I already mentioned, the course also includes engaging video lessons for each zodiac archetype, reflective journal prompts to uncover your personal patterns, grounding and inspiring guided meditations, and a live Zoom session with me on August 9th. If you're ready to tap into your magic and move with purpose through the seasons, Archetypes of the Zodiac offers a soulful, empowering path to do just that. Okay, now it's time. Let's ground into the action. Here's how this Taurus lunar cycle is shaping your journey, sign by sign. For Taurus, this month is your new beginning. The new moon on April 27th lands in your first house of identity, meaning everything starts with you: who you are now, how you carry yourself, and what you're rooting into. This is a powerful moment to ground into a new version of yourself, one that reflects your truest values, your worth, and the way that you want to move through the world. You're building from the inside out, and that clarity will set the tone for everything that follows. Over the first week, you'll feel this growing sense of self awareness ripple through your connections, conversations, and day to day interactions. Pay attention to where old stories still try to limit your worth, and notice how you're rewriting them through how you're showing up. The first quarter moon in Leo on May 4th lights up your fourth house of home and roots. Are you grounding your self expression in spaces that actually feel safe and supportive, or are you dimming your light to keep the peace? This is your moment to bring awareness to what makes you feel secure, not just physically, but also emotionally. Shift your routines and your role in relationships to reflect the version of you that's ready to take up space. And as you build this grounded sense of identity, you're also noticing how your practical responsibilities and your ability to be of service to others align or don't align with what you're trying to create for yourself. With the full moon in Scorpio on May the 12th, it's taking place in your seventh house of relationships and partnerships. This is where we start working on emotional depth. You're being called to look at the patterns in how you relate, where you're giving away too much, where you're holding back, or where you're avoiding altogether. This is a moment of accountability. If you're going to ground in your value, it has to extend into how you share your energy and your time and your power with others. Trust what's surfacing. It's showing you what needs to shift so you can relate from a place of wholeness and not fear. This emotional clarity supports the expansion of your beliefs, and meeting new people, having new experiences, or shifting your mindset helps you anchor into the values that support the future that you're building. And finally, the last quarter moon in Aquarius on May 20th activates your 10th house of career, visibility, and long term legacy. This is where the cycle asks for choice. What does real success mean to you now? This final week is about aligning your public life with your personal evolution. It may be time to let go of an old title, outdated goals, or external expectations that no longer reflect your grounded sense of self worth. You're being asked to lead from within and to release fears and attachments that keep you small and be able to step boldly toward the future that you're manifesting. This entire month invites you to stand your ground, know your worth, and grow from the roots up so everything you're building reflects the truth of who you are. For Gemini, the new moon in Taurus on April 27th occurs in your 12th house of unknowns and transitions. This is a moment to ground in the unknown, to listen to your intuition, and to shed what no longer fits with who you're becoming. Your clarity this month comes not from action, but from being willing to pause, reflect, and surrender. The first week will tune into how you process the world, how you react to your surroundings, and how your environment shapes your sense of identity. What you notice in the mirror is shifting, and as your inner world steadies, you start to root into what truly makes you feel secure physically, emotionally, and financially. The first quarter moon in Leo on May 4th occurs in your third house of processing and responding. This lights up the part of your chart that governs communication, curiosity, and how you engage with others in your daily world. It's time for awareness on what sparks your passions and how your voice contributes to the conversations around you. What are you learning about the way that you express yourself? And how can you ground that expression into something meaningful, something that nourishes your foundations and reflects who and what you're proud to nurture in your life? As this awareness deepens, you'll feel called to care more intentionally for your space, your routines, and the people that you pour yourself into. You'll be tuning in to what brings beauty and balance to your creative pursuits and asking whether your current commitments still light you up or whether they've begun to dim that spark. The full moon in Scorpio arrives on May 12th in your sixth house of care and management. This is the place where responsibility meets devotion. How are you managing your energy and who gets to access it? You may find yourself facing truths about where you've given too much of yourself, and whether that's through time, emotional labor, or even just your own well being. It's time to reassess your boundaries and commitments, especially when it comes to deeply personal or intimate exchanges. This is also the week you begin exploring new ways to connect with others, different perspectives, fresh relationships, or deeper truths that will inspire change. You're refining your beliefs and values through your experience and anchoring that growth into a more solid inner compass. The last quarter moon in Aquarius on May 20th occurs in your ninth house of spirituality and exploration. The focus shifts towards the future that you're building and the bigger picture that you're aiming for. It activates the part of you that seeks higher meaning, freedom, and new horizons. What version of the future are you investing in? What structures need to evolve so that you can contribute to something greater than yourself? As the final week unfolds, your attention sharpens on the legacy that you're crafting, the roles you've played publicly, and what parts of them are no longer aligned. Let yourself grieve what's no longer true so that you can rise into what is. And as you near the end of the cycle, everything will circle back to where it began: reflection, stillness, and a quieter kind of clarity. This is the time to fully ground into the growth, the change, and the self trust that you've cultivated all month. For Cancer, this month starts with a powerful invitation to ground into the value of your voice, your presence, and your contributions, especially in the spaces that you share with others. The new moon in Taurus on April 27th occurs in your 11th house of groups and contributions. This life arena speaks to community, dreams, and long term impact. You're being called to clarify how you're showing up in the collective and whether it aligns with your deeper values and sense of worth. What are you building with others? Where are you offering your gifts? This is your moment to reset and reconnect with the value of what you bring to the table. Throughout the first week, you're given space to reflect on how your environment responds to you, how you move through change, and what you're still learning to trust in the unknown. You may feel a shift in how you carry your personal energy, your sense of home within yourself becoming more central as you're asked to process where you're heading next. The first quarter moon in Leo on May 4th lands in your second house of personal resources and value. This is where the light shines on your self worth and the ways that you're cultivating it. Are you truly honoring your talents, passions, and potential, or are you underselling yourself out of habit? This week asks for you to make bold choices around what you're investing in, whether that's time, energy, or money. And it's a chance to build a stronger foundation of confidence and care for what really matters to you. As the week progresses, you'll feel this energy move into how you manage daily interactions and responsibilities. Pay attention to the little things, routines, conversations, and tasks that either support your growth or drain your energy. Relationships close to home may also come into focus, showing where balance and harmony can help you to stay grounded. The full moon in Scorpio on May 12th rises in your fifth house of passions, creativity, and joy. Emotions run deeper this week, especially when it comes to how you express your desires and open your heart to others. This is a moment of accountability, a reality check on what brings you life and where you've been holding back out of fear or emotional weight. Are you creating from a place of empowerment or performing for approval? It's time to release what keeps your joy locked behind self protection or control. This emotional clearing creates space for you to expand how you serve and care for yourself and others. You may find yourself drawn to explore new ways of finding purpose in your everyday life, or drawn to people who help you grow beyond the structures that you've now outgrown. The last quarter moon in Aquarius on May 20th activates your eighth house of intimates and assets. This life arena looks to shared energy, deep connections, and transformation. You're being asked to shift how you engage with emotional depth, with your vulnerability, and with power, especially when it comes to the bonds and agreements that you share with others. What's worth holding on to, and what needs to be released so that you can evolve? You're gaining new insights through experiences that challenge what you thought you knew. Inspiration may come through dreams, travel, or spiritual inquiry, helping you view your personal growth through a wider lens. And as you step back into visibility, there's a renewed sense of clarity around what you're building long term. You're leading with more conviction because it's rooted in who you truly are and what you now know that you're worth. The cycle completes where it began with a final reflection on how your gifts are received, where they're most needed, and how to stay grounded in the value of what only you can offer. This month is not just about what you're creating, it's about who you're becoming in the process. For Leo, this month is all about grounding into the legacy that you're building, not just in what you do, but in how you're seen and remembered. The new moon in Taurus on April 27th lands in your 10th house of image and legacy, concerning your career, reputation, and long term success. You're being asked to get clear on what truly matters when it comes to your public life. What are you working towards, and who are you becoming? Are your actions aligned with the worth that you know that you carry? This isn't about chasing validation. It's about building something that is lasting, something that reflects your evolving values and your sense of self respect. As this energy moves through the first week, you'll begin to notice how your environment and your connections, especially those within your social circles or communities, mirror what it is that you're trying to grow. Some people will affirm your direction, and others may reveal where your boundaries need grounding. You'll also begin to feel a shift inward, reflecting on where you've come from, the habits and histories that have shaped you, and what you're ready to release to create space for new authority in your life. The first quarter moon in Leo on May 4th lands in your first house of identity and personality. Self image and how you carry your energy into every room is now under review. What needs to shift in how you show up to truly honor your growth? You're being invited to fully own your passions, to speak your truth, and to ground your power in authenticity. This week asks you to refine how you manage your time, energy, and responsibilities. Small daily decisions are now feeding the bigger picture. There's also a push to balance your needs with the needs of others, especially in the way that you communicate and collaborate. If it doesn't honor your value, it's not the right exchange. The full moon in Scorpio on May 12th occurs in your fourth house of home, roots, and inner emotional world. It's time to get honest about what's underneath it all, the hidden feelings, the unspoken dynamics, or unprocessed wounds that are affecting how you build and maintain your foundation. This full moon shines a light on where you've compromised your emotional safety for the sake of control, or where you've clung to outdated security because it felt familiar. Accountability is key here, not to blame, but to heal. As the week unfolds, creativity and joy return through new adventures, spiritual insight, or a desire to open your heart in a more meaningful way. You're reminded that grounding doesn't mean staying stuck, it means building a launch pad. You'll also start to examine the systems that shape your everyday life. Is your work supporting your well being or draining your spirit? You're allowed to restructure your schedule to serve both your ambition and your sanity. The last quarter moon in Aquarius on May 20th activates your seventh house of relationships and shared experiences. This is where the cycle asks for choice. What kind of connections support the future that you're growing into? This moment calls you to release people pleasing, overcompensating, or outdated relationship dynamics that keep you from standing fully in your truth. Grounded connections are reciprocal. They honor your individuality while contributing to something bigger. And as the final week moves on, you'll be asked to go deeper into your inner landscape, your intuitive wisdom, and your emotional investments. What are you still holding on to out of fear? What are you ready to trust yourself with? There may be big realizations about your belief systems, especially around independence, expansion, and what it means to live a purposeful life. As the cycle comes full circle, you return to your vision of success, but now it's clearer, richer, and rooted in truth. This month asks you to ground your worth not just in how you feel, but in what you build, how you relate, and how you boldly allow yourself presence to shift the world around you. For Virgo, this month begins with a deep breath of expansion. The new moon in Taurus on April 27th opens up your ninth house of spirituality and exploration. There is focus on truth, vision, and growth, inviting you to ground into your beliefs and rediscover what gives life meaning. This is a fresh start for your spiritual journey. You're planting seeds that help you trust your path, your purpose, and the value of what you're learning and exploring. Whether that's through travel, study, or self reflection, this is about reconnecting to the wisdom within you. In the days that follow, you're invited to carry this sense of clarity into your outer world. The way you show up professionally and publicly is being shaped by these internal discoveries. Are you living in alignment with what you believe to be meaningful? And is your legacy reflecting your values or someone else's idea of success? By the end of the first week, attention shifts to your place in the wider community. You may find yourself asking how you contribute and where you belong. Your sense of self worth is being mirrored back through your networks and social spaces. Let this guide you toward more authentic participation. The first quarter moon in Leo on May 4th brings fire to your 12th house of unknowns and transitions related to the subconscious and soul work. This week, awareness comes through stillness, dreams, and hidden patterns. You're being invited to process what's ready to be released, especially anything that dims your inner light or keeps you second guessing your purpose. Passions may feel tender here, but they're powerful. Something creative or courageous is stirring behind the scenes, preparing you to emerge more fully into your identity in the days ahead. The focus will then shift to your sense of self. How do you show up when you're fully present, fully aligned, and not trying to perfect yourself into invisibility? And once you start owning that energy, how do you negotiate your worth in relationships and exchanges? There's a clear opportunity here to redefine the balance between what you give and what you receive, to express your needs without apology, and to honor the tangible and emotional resources you bring to the table. The full moon in Scorpio on May 12th lights up your third house of processing and responding to communication and daily exchanges, illuminating where emotional triggers or power dynamics disrupt your clarity. This is a time for accountability, not just with others, but with yourself. Old habits around avoidance, over-explanation, or silence might rise to the surface. Use them as portals, not as obstacles. By facing what's real, you clear your space to evolve. In the week that follows, you're invited to root your beliefs more deeply into your home, your past, and the emotional foundations that shaped you. This is how you begin to live your truth, not just as an idea, but as daily practice. You may also feel a surge of creativity or a desire to pour your energy into something that reflects your values more boldly. Don't ignore what lights you up. This is your reminder that grounding doesn't mean shrinking, it means stabilizing the life that's truly yours. The last quarter moon in Aquarius on May 20th occurs in your sixth house of care and responsibility, asking you to choose what systems, habits, and communities truly support your growth. You're being shown where it's time to release outdated structures, especially if they've been holding you back from showing up fully in service of your gifts. Throughout this week, you're invited to reflect on how your relationships support or challenge your emotional wellness. Transitions may arise in partnerships, calling for you to soften, listen, or let go of old expectations. You're also being asked to take bold ownership of your personal transformation. This is not about control, but it's about personal courage. Reclaim your story, your resources, and your desires. As the moon returns to the energy it began with at the beginning of the cycle, it will bring you back to the realm of purpose and perspective. This final reflection anchors everything that you've discovered. Your worth is not just in what you give, but it's in what you believe. And belief, when it's grounded, becomes your most powerful foundation. For Libra, this cycle begins deep beneath the surface. The new moon in Taurus on April 27th occurs in your eighth house of intimacy, assets, shared energy, and mutual investments. You're being invited to ground your worth not just in what you own, but in how you share, how you trust, and how you let others show up for you. It's about giving and receiving in ways that honor your value, not sacrificing it. The first week stirs up insights around your beliefs, your voice, and your truth. How do your inner philosophies support the way you relate to others? Are you holding back, or are you open to seeing your current story through a new lens? You'll find yourself responding differently in your conversations and environments as your sense of worth expands. There's also a pull to consider how your personal evolution reflects in your outer role and reputation. On May 4th, the first quarter moon in Leo occurs in your 11th house of groups and contributions, challenging you to take aligned action and activating the part of you that dreams of contributing to something bigger. This week lights a fire around your passions, your visions, and the people who support them. Are you surrounding yourself with those who uplift your creativity and values, or are you shrinking to fit into spaces that no longer reflect your desires? You'll likely be called to ground your energy by tending to the quiet corners of your mind, where overwhelm or avoidance sometimes hide. Prioritize rest and gentle self management. By the end of the week, you'll be tuning into who you're becoming and how your self image is shifting. This is a chance to relate to yourself more honestly and with grace. Then, on May 12th, the full moon in Scorpio peaks in your second house of earned worth and personal resources. This is a bold illumination of where your energy goes and whether it's giving you the return that you need. It's time for accountability. What dynamics, agreements, or emotional attachments are draining your power? Where are you undercharging, not just in money, but in time, love, or energy? This week brings clarity through reflection and expansion. Your ideas are sparked by new perspectives, unexpected conversations, or even spontaneous detours. And all of it helps you get grounded in what truly matters. As the week closes, you'll feel the need to align with what you're building and put it with what feels emotionally secure and sustainable. Your inner foundation is your key to your outer growth. The last quarter moon in Aquarius on May 20th lands in your fifth house of passions and projects. This relates to the life arena where joy, self expression, and creativity live. You're being called to choose authenticity over performance, to take what you've learned and ground it into bold, inspired action on your terms. Let go of the roles or responsibilities that no longer let your light shine. Real contribution comes from aligned passion. This final stretch carries you through some tender transitions, surrendering what's out of your control, caring for your body and mind in real, practical ways, and seeing how you want to show up in your most important one on one connections. And just before the next cycle begins, you circle back to where it all started, reflecting on how you've grown through trust and intimacy, as well as the way that you claim and share your value. This month grounds you in the truth that your worth isn't just yours to hold, it's yours to honor, protect, and express in every relationship, role, and reality that you create. For Scorpio, this month invites you to root deeply into trust, value, and intimacy, not just with others, but within yourself. The new moon in Taurus on April 27th activates your seventh house of relating and harmonizing, offering a reset on how you connect, collaborate, and share space with others. You're being called to ground your worth in how you relate, knowing what you bring to the table and what you expect in return. This is where new commitments can be formed, but only when they're built on mutual value and respect. In the first week, the energy begins to stir beneath the surface. You're tuning in to what's shared, finances, emotions, desires, and noticing where trust is flourishing or where it's fraying. As conversations unfold and environments shift, you're learning to respond with more clarity and less reactivity. Toward the end of the week, you're nudged to step back and reflect. Big picture thinking and emotional truth seeking take over as you ask yourself what really feels like home to your spirit and what beliefs you're ready to outgrow. The first quarter moon in Leo on May 4th occurs in your 10th house of image and legacy, calling you into awareness around your impact, your reputation, and your long term goals. Are you proud of what you're building? This moment pushes you to show up and be seen, but it must come from a place of heart and not performance. Express your creativity, own your voice, lead with authenticity in your work or your community roles. As the week unfolds, you'll be fine tuning your involvement with groups, networks, or causes that you care about. There's a sense of practicality settling in, managing your time and energy wisely, taking responsibility for your part in collective spaces. Toward the weekend, a softer internal energy will emerge, asking you to restore balance. You may notice that healing or letting go, especially in private dynamics or emotional patterns that feel out of sync with the bigger version of you that's trying to emerge. The full moon in Scorpio on May 12th occurs in your first house of identity and personality. This is a deeply personal checkpoint, a time of accountability for how you've shown up in your relationships and for the inner truths that can no longer be denied. It's not about being perfect, it's about being real. Emotional patterns, power dynamics, and fears around vulnerability rise to the surface now. And with them comes an invitation to release what no longer reflects who you're becoming. This clarity opens space to redefine your values. You're seeing what truly holds meaning financially, emotionally, and spiritually. You're exploring new paths, beliefs, or opportunities that allow you to build something more aligned with your true self worth. Throughout the week, your communication will sharpen. You're thinking about how to articulate your vision and how to manage your public presence in a way that supports the future you're manifesting. The last quarter moon in Aquarius on May 20th brings everything home, literally, lighting up your fourth house of home and heritage. It's a moment to make choices about what kind of emotional foundation you want to stand on moving forward. Where do you feel safe to grow? What outdated dynamics or inherited patterns are ready to be reimagined? This final week calls for clarity and leadership, especially around where you belong, who you build with, and how you tend to those spaces that hold you. Creative sparks fly, but so do intuitive shifts. Pay attention to dreams, signs, and moments of inspiration. You're learning how to care for yourself in new ways, how to lead with your instincts, take action on what matters, and prepare to return to your relationships with new boundaries, deeper trust, and clearer worth. By the time the moon returns to Taurus and your relationship sector at the end of the month, you'll see just how much you'll see just how much all of this has shifted. What began as a desire to connect more meaningfully has turned into a grounded sense of who's truly meant to walk this next chapter with you. For Sagittarius, this month kicks off by bringing your attention to how you care for your body, manage your energy, and show up for your responsibilities. The new moon in Taurus on April 27th occurs in your sixth house of care and management, calling for you to ground into sustainable rhythms that honor your time, health, and personal worth. You're redefining what productivity really means for you. Not everything has to be a sprint. You're learning to move from a place of presence and not pressure, and that starts with the clarity to choose what truly deserves your energy. Over the first week, you'll start feeling how this plays out in your closest interactions. Relationships and conversations will reflect how well you're upholding the boundaries that you've just set. You'll be learning to respond to others without abandoning your own pace. Deep emotional insights may begin to surface, especially around how you manage shared resources, expectations, and support in your most intimate connections. The first quarter moon in Leo on May 4th brings inspired growth and purpose. You're ready to expand your perspective, but not in a scattered way. This is focused expansion, rooted in what feels aligned with your personal truth. This week shines a light on your inner passions, projects, or philosophies that are ready to evolve. There's a chance to bring more meaning to your ambitions, whether they're through creative pursuits, learning something new, or simply speaking your truth louder. As the week flows, this energy carries into your career, visibility, and how you present yourself to the world. You're being guided to make grounded moves that reflect both your desire for impact and your need for integrity. It's also a great time to reflect on how your contributions support a greater whole and how connection and collaboration can amplify your path forward. The full moon in Scorpio on May 12th takes place in your 12th house of transitions and unknowns, bringing deep reflection to patterns that linger behind the scenes. This is about your relationship to the unseen, your fears, your healing, and the emotional cycles that you've outgrown. You may feel emotions surface unexpectedly, and that's part of the process. This is a powerful moment of accountability around your inner world, where you've been giving away your power, where you've avoided grounding your truth, and where it's time to fully release old energies. What's revealed here can empower you to show up more fully. As you integrate these insights, you're stepping into your identity with a clearer sense of purpose. You're also becoming more intentional with your time, energy, and resources, knowing what's worth investing in and what's ready to be let go. The last quarter moon in Aquarius on May 20th occurs in your third house of processing and responding to people and environments. This shifts focus towards how you communicate, connect, and take in the world around you. It's time to choose new ways of thinking and expressing yourself that reflect the internal growth of the past few weeks. You're becoming more discerning in how you engage with others, and not everything requires your input. You're learning to filter through the noise and prioritize what truly resonates. As the final week unfolds, you'll be pulled inward again to reflect on what truly feels like home. Questions around emotional safety, belonging, and the roots that you want to nurture may arise. Your creativity is calling too. There is something passionate and deeply personal that wants expression. By the time the moon returns to where it all began, you'll come full circle, grounding back into your daily life with a renewed understanding of how to manage your energy, care for your body, and invest in your efforts into what really matters. For you, this month is all about grounding your adventurous spirit into tangible, meaningful systems. You're learning to live with intention, move with clarity, and build a life that supports both your vision and your well being. For Capricorn, this month opens the door to your creative fire, your joy, your pleasure, and your desires. The new moon in Taurus on April 27th brings a fresh wave of clarity around what you're here to build, express, and bring to life. This isn't just about passion or projects, it's about grounding your energy into what lights you up and recognizing that joy is a resource too. You're being invited to anchor deeper into your personal worth through what you create, whether that's art, love, play, or something tangible that you're birthing into the world. When you claim what excites you, you claim your right to take up space. In the first week, you'll be nudged to stay present to how your surroundings, conversations, and daily habits either support or drain that creative spark. You're learning how to tend to your energy with care and how your relationships reflect what you believe you're worthy of receiving. The first quarter moon in Leo on May 4th calls in a turning point. It occurs in the part of your chart that governs intimacy and exchange, bringing deep awareness to what you're sharing and what you're not. This is a time to ask, am I investing in people and projects that nourish me, or am I just pouring from an empty cup? Awareness here can be intense, but it's also empowering. You're learning to ground your passion with discernment. To build something that lasts, you need to trust the worth of what you have to offer. As the second week unfolds, you're expanding your worldview, seeing new possibilities in how you approach your growth. There's a call to align your deeper beliefs with what you're creating and contributing, and to consider how your outward role and your reputation reflects your inner values. The full moon in Scorpio on May 12th occurs in your 11th house of groups and contributions, looking to your friendships and your shared visions. This is where accountability meets community. Something may come to a head around who or what you've been aligned with, and whether those connections still support the future that you're building. Emotions can run high, especially if you've been giving too much or hiding behind group dynamics to avoid owning your own power. This moon asks you to reflect honestly. Are you grounded in what you bring to the table or seeking validation outside of yourself? By mid month, you're moving through deeper waters, exploring inner healing, subconscious patterns, and the ways that you've held yourself back from receiving joy, intimacy, or recognition. But this inward reflection feeds into something powerful, a renewed sense of self. You're preparing to emerge clearer, stronger, and more grounded in your purpose. The last quarter moon in Aquarius on May 20th lands in your second house of resources and worth, looking at possessions, values, and income. Here's your choice point. What are you ready to release in order to fully claim the value of what you've created? You may find yourself rethinking how you earn, what you give your time to, or what you need to feel truly supported. Let go of any outdated systems or definitions of success that no longer fit, and choose to innovate from a place of self trust. In the final days of the cycle, you're revisiting old emotional patterns and stories about safety, identity, and belonging. This is where clarity deepens, where you let go of the noise and reconnect with what you're here to build and how you want to be remembered for it. Through it all, remember, this cycle is about grounding your worth in what you create. You're planting seeds not just for recognition or results, but for joy, for legacy, and for the kind of impact that begins from within. For Aquarius, this month asks you to anchor deeply into what feels like home, not just where you live, but how you're supported at your foundation. It's time to root your sense of worth in something solid and sustaining. The new moon in Taurus on April 27th brings fresh clarity to your fourth house of home, heritage, and emotional security. This is about planting yourself where you feel safe to grow, honoring your roots while redefining what stability truly means to you. It's a quiet but powerful beginning. You may be reflecting on family dynamics, living situations, or ancestral patterns. Whatever comes up, it's pointing you toward the grounding that you need to feel nourished and strong from the inside out. As the first week unfolds, the focus begins to shift to what lights you up, your passions, your projects, the things that make life feel vibrant. How do your creative expressions reflect your internal landscape? How are you responding to the energy around you? This is also a week to gently sort through daily demands and how you care for others, tuning in to whether your systems actually support your well being or just keep you busy. The first quarter moon in Leo on May 4th sparks bold awareness in your house of relationships. It's go time when it comes to connection. You're being called to express yourself honestly, show up more fully in your partnerships, and get clear on who mirrors your growth and who doesn't. Where do you feel safe being seen? Where do you still hold back? This week also brings deeper focus to how you share energy, space, and resources with others. You're beginning to notice how mutual support, or the lack of it, impacts your ability to stay grounded and emotionally available. As the week continues, you may feel a pull to explore new perspectives, whether through spiritual practice, travel, or connecting with different worldviews. You're craving more depth in how you relate, and it's showing up in both your inner and outer worlds. The full moon in Scorpio on May 12th occurs in your 10th house of visibility and legacy, shining a light on how your deeper emotional work is shaping the story that you're telling the world. This is a powerful moment of accountability. Is your public life aligned with your inner truth? You may be releasing outdated ideas about success, old patterns in how you've managed shared resources, or even power struggles around who gets to lead. This is your moment to reclaim authority by honoring your intuition and letting go of what no longer supports your evolution. As you move through the week, your focus turns toward bigger dreams. What communities are you contributing to? What causes a light and a fire within you? You're seeing more clearly where you want to belong and what you have to offer. This then gives way to deeper reflections on what's ending, transforming, or simply ready to be released in order to create space for something more meaningful. Grounding in your value means trusting what you're ready to leave behind. The last quarter moon in Aquarius on May 20th lands in your first house of identity and personality. This is a decisive turning point. What do you want to be known for now? You're choosing which parts of yourself move forward and which no longer reflect your grounded truth. It's time to lead with clarity, not confusion. In the final stretch of the cycle, the focus shifts back toward your resources, your money, your energy, your sense of worth. How do you want to use what you have to support who you have becoming? Sorry, how do you want to use what you have to support who you're becoming? You'll also be refining how you speak, learn, and respond in your day to day world, integrating all that's unfolded over the month. And as the moon returns to where it started, you get a chance to reflect deeply on what home really means now and how you're choosing to root yourself going forward. This entire cycle asks you to ground in your worth, your vision, and your truth so you can build a life that feels like home from the inside out. For Pisces, this month invites you to ground your truth, to find clarity in your voice and how you respond to the world around you. The Taurus new moon on April 27th occurs in your third house of processing and responding to people and environments. This life arena relates to your thoughts, conversations, and communications. You're getting crystal clear on how you process what's happening around you and how your inner voice reflects your sense of worth. This is a fresh start in how you speak up, how you respond, and what you choose to believe about yourself. The way you interact with your world holds the key to how rooted you feel in it. Over the first week, you're learning to ground these thoughts by tuning in to the places and people that shaped you. Whether it's family, your home, or the stories passed down through your upbringing, notice what still holds weight and what you're ready to update. The connection between your mind and your roots is becoming clearer. The first quarter moon in Leo on May 4th asks you to put awareness into action. It lights up the part of your life that handles care, service, and daily responsibility. Are your everyday choices supporting your passion or draining it? This is your chance to ground your energy by organizing your time and your space and attention around what really matters. Your passions deserve structure. The clearer you get on what you care about, the better you can manage your energy without burning out. In the days that follow, your interactions with others begin to reflect this shift. You may start noticing what's working and what's not in your closest relationships. Are you giving too much? Not enough? There's a quiet invitation to balance the scales. As this week deepens, you may also feel pulled to evaluate shared spaces, shared time, or even shared finances, especially in intimate dynamics. Where are you merging out of obligation instead of genuine alignment? The full moon in Scorpio on May 12th brings accountability. It rises in the part of your life that seeks deeper meaning and spiritual expansion, but this time it's filtered through vulnerability. You're being asked to look at the beliefs that keep you from fully opening up. This is about emotional truth. Are you withholding your deeper self out of fear or past wounds? This moon wants you to get honest, not just for connection, but for your own freedom. What's surfacing now is helping you to build better foundations for your future. Whether you're exploring new paths, speaking your truth more boldly, or reimagining your purpose, you're grounding your vision in emotional integrity. This internal shift affects how you show up in your public life. You may feel called to step in a role that reflects this new awareness, something more meaningful, more aligned with who you really are. And finally, the last quarter moon in Aquarius on May 20th lands in the space of endings, transitions, and the unseen. This is where you make a choice. Something is being released, an old dream, a limiting belief, or an outdated role that you've outgrown. This is a surrender point. But it's not about giving up, it's about grounding into faith and trusting in what's unfolding. As the days unfold, the fog will lift. You'll begin to feel a gentle full pull back into yourself, rediscovering your presence, your purpose, and your unique essence. You'll find new motivation, new desires, and a stronger sense of what you truly value. And by the end of the month, you've come full circle. You're responding to the world in a new way. You're not reacting, you're choosing from a place of clarity, confidence, and grounded self worth. For you, this lunar cycle is about grounding your voice, your care, your power to connect, and your spiritual truth. The more you root into what matters, the more clearly your path forward reveals itself. For Aries, this month is about grounding into what you value, your energy, your time, your skills, and learning how to stand firmly in your worth no matter what's happening around you. The new moon in Taurus on April 27th sparks a fresh beginning in your second house of resources and self worth. What is truly valuable to you now, and how are you claiming and protecting it? This is your moment to get crystal clear on what you need to feel emotionally, financially, and energetically stable. You're laying new groundwork for how you support yourself and how you show up in the world as someone who knows what they bring to the table. Throughout the first week, these new intentions begin to move through your everyday conversations and interactions. You may feel more aware of the way your environment and the people within it affect your inner narrative around value. There's a growing urge to speak your truth more confidently, to process where you've given too much, and to shift the way that you respond so it aligns with your grounded sense of worth. As the week deepens, your attention turns to what supports you at the root, your home, your living space, and the foundational emotional dynamics that keep you steady. You may start to notice where comfort and security need to be redefined. The first quarter moon in Leo on May 4th lights up your fifth house of creativity and passion. Are you investing in your joy, or are you giving your energy away before it reaches your own passions? This is your call to put energy into what lights you up: your creativity, your self expression, your projects, your playful side. Awareness brings breakthroughs this week as you reconnect with what makes you feel alive and start managing your time, your energy, and your responsibilities in ways that serve those priorities. As the week continues, you'll be drawn to refine how you take care of yourself and others. Systems of care, health, and service come under the spotlight, especially where they feel out of balance. You'll also be nudged to reevaluate your role in relationships, checking in on whether they support the version of who is claiming more worth and showing up with more intention. The full moon in Scorpio on May 12th rises in your eighth house of shared energy, intimacy, and deep transformation. Emotions run deeper this week, and you're being asked to hold yourself accountable for how you show up in your closest exchanges. Where do you overextend or withhold when it comes to trust, intimacy, or shared resources? This is a moment to face old patterns around emotional entanglement, dependency, or fear of loss. You're grounding into your value now, and that means releasing what drains or empowers you. As this emotional clarity settles, your vision begins to expand. You may feel inspired to step out of your comfort zone, whether through learning, travel, or connecting with new perspectives that shift your beliefs and deepen your commitment to what really matters. By the end of the third week, you'll be called to look at your place in the world, your career, your public role, and your legacy. Are your long term goals reflecting your inner revolution? You're beginning to see how to align your purpose with your principles. The last quarter moon in Aquarius on May 20th lands in your 11th house of community and contribution, inviting you to make a choice about the future that you're building and who you're building it with. This is a moment to reevaluate your long-term vision. What causes, communities, or collaborations still feel aligned with your growth, and which ones are asking for release? This final week asks for discernment as you enter more reflective terrain. You may feel called to rest, reset, or simply be with the unknown as you process everything that has unfolded. This inner space is vital. It helps you reconnect with your instincts, your identity, and what you want to bring forward. As the moon comes full circle, you'll return to where it all began, grounding back into your values and your sense of self-worth. But now you do so with more clarity, more truth, and a deeper sense of what you're here to grow and protect. This month is about knowing what you're worth and acting like it. As we move through the Taurus lunar cycle, everything is anchored in the theme of ground. We begin by getting clear at the new moon, planting ourselves in what feels solid, aligned, and sustaining. It's a moment to reconnect with your worth and set intentions from a place of rooted confidence. At the first quarter moon, awareness will build. You're invited to express what's growing through creativity, care, and connection. You get to feel what wants to be shared and how your values take shape in your everyday life. With the full moon, accountability arrives. You're asked to face what's been hidden or avoided and to meet your shadow with honesty. This is where real transformation begins, when you ground into your truth and realize the weight that no longer belongs to you. And at the last quarter moon, it's time to choose. You're being called to innovate, to see the bigger picture, collaborate with purpose, and lead from a more integrated sense of self. This cycle is all about steadying yourself and building something that lasts. That's a wrap on the Taurus lunar cycle. Through the cycle points method, we move with the moon, gaining clarity with the new moon, building awareness with the first quarter moon, practicing accountability with the full moon, and making powerful choices with the last quarter moon. Each phase invites you to slow down, check in, and align with your energy in a real, intentional way. If you'd like support applying this in your own chart, I offer personal coaching to guide you through the cycle with clarity and confidence. Head over to the Maven's Call at themavenscall.com or send me a message or an email. I'd love to walk on this path with you. And stay tuned, because the next lunar cycle will bring us into Gemini, where we focus on the theme of process and look at how we share, connect, and respond to our environments. Until then, take good care and keep honoring your rhythm.